Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Sankofa is an African word that means we must go back and reclaim our past so we can move forward and understand why and how we came to be who we are today.
We decided to research the civil rights history of our community, Sunflower County, to learn how to start a movement that could bring about change among youth in our community.
We started out by gathering ideas on what would be an effective way to learn from different perspectives on our community.
We felt like students might have first-hand experience on community-related problems, so we decided to begin our adventure by talking to a local team.
I live in Sunflower, and the population is about 900. It's a very quiet community. Not much happens here on a given day. You know, like right now, the streets are probably empty until about 5 o'clock, and then people will be driving around. You know, people will be standing on corners, not really doing anything. Adults, you know, who are supposed to have jobs and things like that, aren't doing anything. Just on the corner, you know, still living at home with mom, just not doing anything with their life, just being wasted. So that's the younger generation. The older generation, you know, they're supportive, and you know, the type of old grandma who sits on the porch and waves at everybody that passes by. And all in all, it's a pretty quiet community. Not much activity, good or bad. Most of the teachers in my school do their job okay, and it's a lot of times the pressure is put on the student. You know, the teachers sort of see the students in the class, and they see this group of students. They know this group of students is going to want to learn something, and they're going to focus on them, while the rest of the class is like, whatever, I have to be here. And so the teacher tends to focus on that one group of students who a lot of the time they know are going to want to do work. They know are going to want to learn as much as they can while they're in this classroom. And teachers tend to focus on them more than they tend to focus on.
The main thing I think kids need to do or need to know is how to function in society. So by me teaching what the state feels should be taught is not what I feel students should know. So I think kids need to be more prepared in living in a global society and helping their community. And that's not what we're teaching our kids. That's the most important thing. Because if we continue to teach what we're teaching and getting the results we're getting, we're not going to move forward. So I think we definitely need to make a new adjustment in our curriculum. And so now I'm in school now working towards becoming a curriculum coordinator, because there's some things that I see need to be done. And so teaching now is geared towards testing. So that's one thing I'm noticing, and that's the biggest thing. And I don't think we're preparing our kids for society when we're preparing them to just take. You know, it's not about how well you can do on a test. It's not about how well, your scores are compared to other kids' scores, but what kind of changes can you make in your community? These are the things that they need to know in order for our communities to progress and for our kids to grow, you know? So I think the biggest thing is just getting out there in the community and allowing them to experiment with things and help the community to grow. And then by them helping the community, that'll help other children. And as they see the older kids doing things, they're gonna grow up and say, well, you know, I saw my brother or sister or cousin or someone do this for me, then I need to make a change by doing it for somebody else. Provide mentor programs, tutor programs to, you know, help the children in our communities. So it starts right here. And it doesn't have to start with a lot of money. It can start with something small. You got to start with something small to get to the big thing.
Calhoun made a good point addressing the problem in the schools. Chris Perkins did too. But I feel like we need more information. Maybe we should talk to someone who, like, did or helped out in the civil rights movement.
Like Mr. Dave Matthews or somebody?
Yeah. Maybe we should talk to him.
Let's go talk to him.
First, in the civil rights movement, we had the meeting of NAACP at our church back in the 50s. And following that, the state NAACP met in Belgrade in the 50s. Well, see, the first meeting was not a matter of motivation, it was a matter of acceptance. See, I had the state NAACP meeting there. Like Mick Evans and all those big boys, they came to our church. That's the first big meeting. And after that, the big meeting motivated the small chapters, you know, to meet. So we met in various places. We didn't just meet in Belgrade. We met at Belgrade, we met at Club Evidence in different places. We didn't meet in one place at the time, you know. And but the first meeting was not a matter of motivation, a matter of acceptance, because the NAACP was already a statewide. Matter of fact, I was in the NAACP meeting when I was we can get somewhere. Yeah. This is a historical town. As you know, Minnie Cox was the postmistress here. They got a picture up in the post office now. Years ago, when white folk refused to go to the post office, went up to Heathman to get their mail and all that kind of stuff. History. And old man Cox, he finished Alcorn, she finished Fisk up in Nashville. And they were educated folk, came here and did a wonderful job, bought all that land over there, where that park is, where the walk trail over there, bought all that land way years ago. Had a penny saving bank here. That was unheard of among black folk, but they had it. That means we can do what we want to do if we want to do it bad enough. If we will, but we got to be solid. I think one thing, if young people could start a cell among themselves that cares for the advancement of our folk and the civil rights that we have gained, if they would start a group among themselves to maintain what we have done and to build on it, would be helpful to our young folk. Because
Now I really understand what Reverend Matthews was talking about when he said that their first meeting was about acceptance instead of motivation.
Yeah, but still, I wonder why they chose Sunflower County and why did they gather? I think we should have talked to Mr. Charles McLaurin.
I wonder what he's up to today.
It was there that I saw where I wanted to go. They showed us a map of the Mississippi Delta, and all of the 80, 70, 80% potential registered, the blacks, who if they were all registered in these towns and in these counties, could elect blacks to the legislature, could elect blacks mayor, could elect supervisors, and so I saw that, and I had heard where Sunflower County was, and that this was the county of Senator Eastland. And I remembered reading in high school about where Senator Eastland had called our men cowards. So I chose Sunflower County. I said, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to register the voters, and I'm going to do what I can to upset, disturb Senator Eastman. And so one night, Bob Moses, who was the snake organizer in the state, came to Jackson to bring the recruits to the Delta. I was working at a little store. A black man look at a white man, he never look him in his face, never look him in his eyes. That was taboo. And he never approached a black to shake his hand, because that is an indication of equals meeting. And that a black man was never to be put first over a white man. So because of my aim from home, and the reason I got up here, it wouldn't allow me to allow a few people who were against what I was doing, even though they were black, to hold me up. So let's get, you got another question? Other SNCC workers, core workers, NAACP workers, anybody, any organizational worker. You had to have a sense of trust in the people around you. You had to feel that you had these people who were willing to go every mile that you would go, and that they were willing to give their lives, and you were willing to give yours for them. So if young people can learn anything from the movement other than that we got the right to go to McDonald's, or the right to cuss folk out, you know, that we ought to work together.
Okay, I understand what Mr. McLaurin was saying about why he chose Sunflower County in particular, because it's mostly African American. They should be able to change their community.
But you know, much hasn't changed since the Civil Rights Movement. And maybe we could talk to Chris Perkins again about how he thinks the youth could improve Sunflower County or make it better.
Yeah, let's go talk to him.
I start with the school, like the academic environment, it's not very good, like I said earlier. I think that's the main thing that we need to focus on in improving our school. I mean, a lot of times we're at school and we spend a lot of time, you know, we're doing our work that we find easy, but the rest of the class complains about. So I think that the academic environment and the way we change it is to get the students pumped up about school. I mean, in community-wise, I think that a lot of people in our community drop out of high school and they spend their life just here on the corner not doing anything. I think that's the biggest problem in the community, is getting adults to realize that there are a lot more things that they could be doing. There's a huge world out there that they could be exploring, that they could be, you know, making something out of themselves. Life doesn't end, life doesn't start on the corner in Sunflower, and life doesn't have to end there. And I think adults here in Sunflower County in general, not just Sunflower where I live, just everywhere, need to realize that, you know, youth and adults really need to realize that, you know, just because they do that, I don't have to do that. Just the ostentatiousness doesn't have to be contagious. They can, you know, they don't have to sit here all day and stand on the corner. They could be doing so much more.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new
Like Ms. Calhoun said, you have to start with something small in order to work your way into something big.
Like Reverend Matthews said, the first meeting doesn't have to be based on motivation, but it does have to be based on acceptance that there is a problem.
Like Mr. McLaurin said, you have to trust the people around you in order to work together.
Like Chris Perkins said, being ostentatious doesn't have to be contagious. Just because the community isn't doing anything doesn't mean the youth has to do the same.
You know, after all the interviews and learning about our community, I really see that you can make a difference.
Like Mr. McLaurin told us, during the Civil Rights Movement, the movement was in him, but today, the movement is in us.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. It's a new